I think we all know them. Those ominous junk journal pieces we have in our craft room for ages, but for some even more ominous reasons, we have not used them yet. But there's always a chance, and this special day, to change that. Welcome, this is Luise Heinzl, and these letters from Poppyfield Avenue I have bought on a flea market in Austria ages ago. I think I bought them on one of my first junk journal flea markets, you know, those flea markets where you only go because you want to find junk journal pieces and items you could use. And don't ask me why, but I haven't used them yet. But perhaps the reason is that they have waited for my Poppyfield Avenue journal? That could be. If you don't have envelopes, please don't run away, especially if you don't have these really vintage envelopes. These are originally old and you know, these are original vintage envelopes, but you can do today's idea with some junk mail envelopes or something like that as well. Doesn't necessarily have to be something like this. You could also use just a plain envelope and then take out your script stamps, for example, or any other kind of stamp you might have, and stamp on here, on the blank envelope, I mean. Or what you also could do is you could imitate some postmarks, or, you know, you could even draw this or handwrite an address here or so. Then you would have something beautiful in the end as well, even if it's not originally old. I think another reason why I haven't used these yet is exactly that they are already so old, but there's no romantic reason behind this. But the problem is, I mean, you know, you could think, oh, they are old, I can't use them because I have emotions or whatever. I don't know these people where these letters were sent to. So there's no emotion for me behind that, except that I like these vintage things. Do you know what I mean? But there's no personal connection for me. But the age of these is a problem. This here, well, this is one of the ones which are in a better condition. But I have this, for example. Look how easily this tears. The paper is so fragile that I think that is one of the reasons why I haven't used these yet, because I didn't know how. And now I have an idea, and of course you could use this for collages. Yeah, why hasn't she used it? She could. Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry. I just had, oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I quickly need a little second to quickly check if here is something which I definitely don't want to have in these videos or in this video. I'm so sorry. I thought I had controlled that, but obviously not carefully enough. Here it says something where I'm not so sure what that means. I just went over it with a black pen. Okay, I think now we should be on the safe side. I'm so sorry. Now I completely lost what I wanted to say. Normally I like to use envelopes as, for example, pockets or those flip out pages where you then have the possibility to why can't I open it, to really put something in the envelope, but when the paper is so fragile, that is not possible. But I think I just found an idea how we could solve this problem. And for that we do the following thing. First we look at this and be happy that the color fits so well here. We take 3 different envelopes, and now I'm really hoping that this plan I have in my brain will work. It's just existing in my head at the moment. And from these 3, and if you also have these vintage ones, we choose the one which is the sturdiest for the top. Yeah, so this is the most fragile one. Then I have this one, and the most sturdy one goes on top. If you have 2 sturdy envelopes, choose the one which looks more interesting for the top, okay? Then we are, what are we going to do? How can I manage this now? Okay, so this is going to be the first layer, this is the second layer, and this is the third layer, okay? So then we take the first layer, and I have chosen this page here. Here you can see with our technique we have made some weird things, and we got this edge here from our technique of making the ephemera. If you have missed that, and if you perhaps are new here and you just think, what the heck is she talking about? This is my Poppyfield Avenue junk journal, even if it doesn't look like a junk journal yet. And you can find a playlist in the description box with all of the videos I have already published. There you can find also find my paper premiere video, where I have already shown you my bound journal made with this new paper collection from my shop. If you want to watch that first, then you could, you know, see the journal in like nearly finished condition, at least in a bound condition, instead of loose papers on my table. And now I'm making a little time travel by showing you like different snippets of my process of making this. And in the other videos, we made something where we got this. So if you want to know that closer and more intense, then please watch the other videos first. But if you want to watch this to the end and then watch the rest, we have this little edge here. If you don't want to make something like this with the technique I've shown you and how I did it, then you could easily also take some snippets, some tape, you know, something, and glue that to your page like this. It doesn't necessarily have to be made with this technique, but from the technique we got this edge. And this edge is now giving me the position for the first envelope. I want that it is exactly here, because I want 2 things. First, I want that these snippets and this interesting stuff here is included in this page design later, which I want to make here. And the other thing is, I was hoping for a place for journaling here. That didn't happen. If you have seen the other videos, you have also seen that it didn't happen on most of the pages because our mediums bled into the paper. For my taste, in some areas, too much. So what I want to do is I want to cover this up with this envelope and the others. And the first thing is I look here so that, yeah, this is in the correct position. Then I want to decide where it should end. And I think it needs to end here where this red line ends, because that's the position where the ephemera piece was, which we have sticked down there in the other video. So I'm going to do it like this. And I'm really hoping that this will work now. And I cut this off. Ooh, that was not enough. So now it has already the correct width. I put it back here, and then I determine the height also by looking where this stuff here from the other technique ends, and that's exactly here where this scribbling ends. And as you can guess, we will cut this off as well. With that, we get something like this. Okay. So then we take the second layer, meaning the second envelope, and now I want to determine an angle where the second one shall, an angle and a position where the second one shall go. I think if this corner was over here like so, I think that would be very nice when it's not too much, but at the same time visible, obviously. And if we then look here, it's really hard for me to explain because I eyeball this now. Here the green envelope ends, and I want this to be a little bit overlapping, but I need to be careful that I don't come too close to this edge, otherwise I can't flip the other page anymore. So then I'm going to take this and I cut it there where my little mark is. Don't throw this away. You can use that for something else. So then this can go on here like so approximately, and I already like that. And the last one, how could we do that? Perhaps we could let this edge here overlap into this gray area here. Perhaps like this. And then here, I look where the green one is ending. But to be honest, you could also take different sized envelopes. Yeah, I only do it with these because I want to use them up. But you could also take just different sized envelopes and you wouldn't have the need to cut these. So then what do we have to do next? First of all, we have to look how we could manipulate this edge a little bit, because obviously this is cut off now. Where are my scissors? And that doesn't look so originally vintage anymore. So I will carefully go along here. And if you would use a new envelope, you could do this here as well to get a really nice and old edge. Here we could even, because look, this here, does it fit to the, oh, yeah. What a nice coincidence. We could, we could tear it here, perhaps here where I have scribbled with the black because of that weird writing there. Was this? Perhaps like like this. And then let's also ink the edges. And for that, I'm going to use some vintage photo oxide ink. I want to try to do this really, really carefully and especially irregular. Okay. So then, for the plan I have, we need to open this, and then I'm going to take a little bit of tape, because this fold here is pretty fragile, but I want to have this here as journaling space later. Is this? Yeah, I think when we glue it down, then that should be okay. So let's glue another piece of tape here, but for that I want to use some of this here. This is the cello tape by Ideology. But you could use regular tape as well, obviously. Oh no. What's going on here? Okay, so then we can fold this again where it was folded before, and you can see it does strange things because it has now an own mind. So let's do it like this. Yeah, and with the weight of the other envelopes it will stay closed in the end. Ooh, I did it even a little bit wonky. That is good, because then we have another layer here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of glue. I want to go to my sewing machine in a second. If you don't have a sewing machine, don't freak out. Don't run away. Just use more glue than I do here. I will sew around here in a second. So that means I don't need more glue, because my sewing will hold everything together. But if you don't have a sewing machine, you can also put glue under the whole envelopes, or you could use double-sided tape, would also work. So what I did was I opened this so that I could put it under my sewing machine like so that I don't accidentally sew through this, yeah, because we need that to make this folding thingy here work. Then I started with my sewing here. I went up here, turned the thing around, then I opened this, went along here, absolutely no problem, because the sewing machine foot can pass here while you hold this. And then I just went like so, and I decided to stop here instead of going up to where I started here. That would also work, because then you would still have a little pocket here, but I think this way it looks way more interesting when it's not completely closed. I'm really wondering, how often can a doorbell ring during one single video? I think that was now the 5th time or so that my doorbell was ringing and someone was outside with something, a package, a not working telephone, a neighbor with a package. Crazy. So then I think we can we already glue this down? I'm wondering what happens when it's glued down. I mean, since we have this here and it's pretty stiff from the tape, I'm wondering if I somehow can manage that it really stays flat, because I'm afraid when I glue this down, the plan is to glue it down only with this piece of paper, and this shall be loose then. But what if I then, yeah, can you see the problem? I think we should do something, and I already have an idea. For that idea we are going to need a paper clip, but not this one. This is a little bit bad quality. Let's take, oh, perhaps even this one. Here I have my little box of fancy paper clips. What if we, I mean, it would require that I could bring it on here. Let me think about this. First I thought we could make a little piece here where this part of the paper clip can be in, so that it's like somehow attached to this thing here, like so, and then when it's glued down we could take this and just bring it under here. But I think that is a little bit too difficult because this is so tight. I mean, perhaps even the weight of the paper clip helps to hold it down. And if this is not enough weight to hold it down, then we can still later think about another solution and just take a magnet or so to close this. But I would prefer if it could just be like it is, because then it's more, and that sounds probably pretty weird, then it's more letter-ish. When it can be just like it is. No way. I can't do this job anymore. Oh my goodness. I've just thrown this thing away. Oh my goodness. And it went straight to my coffee cup. Why? I mean, why? Okay, I will put it there to the left. Perhaps then it's safe. Okay, so then let's take this carefully. Yeah, and it feels already totally different. That is weird. I mean, that is somehow also normal with junk journaling, but it already feels way more flat somehow. Yeah. I think when this is bound into the cover, we have no problem with this anymore, because we have to have in mind that this signature will then, or another one, will be on there, and it will press it also perhaps a little bit down. And even if not, we can still attach a magnet here and find a solution for that. But I really like this. This looks so cool. And it was really easy. So what I was thinking is, we still have from the last video this fodder here, which we've saved for things like this. But, and first I thought this could be a good, when I look to this with my eyes, I don't like it. When I look through my screen mirroring thingy, I like, oh, yes. I like the shape, but I didn't like this color here. But the question is now, normally I would never come to the idea to glue a banner in this diagonal position. I would prefer to do it like this somehow, because that when it's like so, then she is like falling off from the page. That is really weird. But what we could consider is since we have this edge here, sorry, at this corner here, it's here as well, but when I do it like so, the corner is still there, isn't it? And that is for me very important because of the whole design. But what if we take this and make something which is here parallel to this? But that can't be too much, otherwise I would cover her head up too much. Perhaps something like this. Then we can put this on here. And I'm just thinking, until now, he has no fabric, lace or something like that in the journal. And I'm thinking it would look good, I guess, when there would be something fabric or lace behind this. To be honest, I haven't even searched for matching fabric or lace for this journal. Normally I do that before excuse me, before I do anything else. Not anything else, but Luise, holy cow, that is absolutely not true. Not before I do anything else, but I do that in the very beginning of my process normally. But this time, with this idea of smashing the mediums on the different things, somehow I didn't do that yet. But yeah, I think there's also no problem with that. But I'm just realizing that this is also, yeah, because of that, it's also different to what I normally would do, like with many other things which happened here as well. What is that? If you haven't seen how this by coincidence has come apart, then go a few seconds back in the video and then come back to this, because look, can you see that? What is that? This is by coincidence this shape. Can you see that? Like I had torn it for this. I mean, what is that? How crazy. Oh my goodness, I love those situations. Okay, I will quickly take this to my sewing machine and sew along here just for decoration. Here we go. And how do we want to glue this now? I mean, if I would glue it only there, yeah, that is no problem. So we are going to take some double-sided tape again, if I can find it. And put that along this fold. But since this is fabric, I will also put glue in between here and also on here. I use the double-sided tape, in this case only like a clamp, because, you know, when I put both types of glue here, then the double-sided tape functions as a clamp because it sticks immediately, and then my bookbinder's glue can dry, but I immediately have this in place. I think we could put this here and then just staple this on. This is cool. And that way we can open this. We have our journaling space here. You could even consider putting more papers in here, like in a little notepad or so. That would always be also still later possible. And then we have our little pocket here, and I'm wondering, do I have something here? This doesn't work because it's too long. Because when it's in here, I can't open it anymore. But what I like is that it has these colors here. This yellow fits very well to the tape and to this. And since this is fodder, why don't we... What about this? I had taken this out before starting recording because I thought that these colors here fit pretty well to this. So, perhaps, oh, can it? Wait. Is it possible that, when this is not here, that should work. Why don't we try to take this? This is from the ephemera pack / the kit as well. Let me fold this in half, because then we have a front and a back of this, and it's not white on the back, but it's a little bit too big. And this purple fits really well to the writing here, or the letters here, the stamping, or how do you call that? Okay, that fits in there now. And what if we now cut in here and determine our own shape for this page tab just by cutting around this little collage. So I'm doing nothing else than following the different pieces with my cutting. This is by coincidence exactly the width of this thing, which is really cool. But I'm just trying to decide. We could also put it here, either like this or... I like it even better here, even if it's then at a little bit more covered, but somehow that looks more harmonious. And now it's white on the back, but that's no problem because we can take this and this, turn this around. Let's just do it like this, and now I'm just cutting along here, trying to hold this in place so that I get another piece of paper which is exactly this shape. And then we can glue this together. Then let's take this as the front, because this purple is on the front of the envelope as well, and then we have a nice cohesive look hopefully when we pull it out. Then we attach this here, and this little thing goes to the other side. And then I will take this to my sewing machine as well and quickly sew around here. Oh, this is nice. I really like that. And then this can go in here. Shall we? Yeah. This bothers me. I think I will quickly staple in here as well. Yeah, that's way better. And then we can also bring this back, because I think that's a nice addition and it holds this whole thing down. Wonderful. So I think that's it for today. I think I will perhaps do 1 or 2 more of these things here in the journal. If I do that, then you already know it because you've already seen the paper premiere and the journal. Yeah, let's see. Also depends a little bit on how much I want to do or what I want to do on the other pages, but I think this is really cute. I hope you like this idea. Try it out if you want and let me know in the comments what you think about this. See you the next time and have a very great and creative day.